and welcome back to another Marvel Champions Deck Factory, a video where we're going to take one card, kind of talk about it, dissect it a little bit, and build a deck that kind of has that card at the center focus. Now, typically, I choose cards that don't normally get as much love as some of the staples, but I am so excited for this new card that we got in the Silk Pack. I opened them together. Now they're all kind of meshed together in the Silk Pack, and that is Ready for a Fight. And I think Ready for a Fight is going to be a staple, but I'm still so excited for this card that I wanted to do a deck factory on it nonetheless. It's honestly the most excited I've been for a card in a long time. So it's phenomenal. Let's talk about what it does. It is a one printed cost, so 2 effective cost, protection, preparation, upgrade. That I don't know why that was so challenging to say. And not only that, you need a physical resource. So it's a 1 cost preparation, protection, upgrade that needs a physical resource. A lot of P's in that. So you do have to spend a punch resource, that red resource, to play it onto the table. That is a requirement, and it kind of balances it a little bit. The nice thing is that it does have a physical resource itself, and since this is max 1 per player, you can use, if you end up having 2 of them in your hand, you can use 1 to pay for the other. We'll talk about some other tricks that we can use to get it into play as well. The actual thing that it does, it's an interrupt. It is not force. It is a choice. You can choose to interrupt when an enemy would scheme. So if an enemy is going to scheme, and in solo, that's probably going to be when you're in alter ego form, you can trigger this interrupt to flip to hero form. You discard it, you flip to hero form, and the enemy attacks you instead. Now, there's a couple of really cool things about this in true solo, but before we dive into all of that, think about it in multiplayer. It allows somebody else to go down. It does not have to be scheming against you. If you're playing a 4-player game, player 1 could be an alter ego. They could scheme, the enemy could initiate a scheme. You can trigger Ready for a Fight on their villain activation, or heck, a minion activation. It doesn't even have to be the villain. Anybody scheming, then you flip up and they attack you instead. And so this allows you to kind of cheat a little bit more players down into alter ego, which is also the main benefit that we're going to get when we are playing it in true solo. And let's talk about those options. This is a much needed card for true solo. Right off the bat, it gives you access to alter ego. So alter ego comes with a higher hand size outside of like Iron Man, but Iron Man also has his futurist ability, so he has effectively the same hand size in both hero and alter ego when you have it fully built out. Other than that, it gives you like another card in your hand, because typically you're seeing 6 cards in alter ego, 5 cards in hero form. So when you flip down, draw up to that hand size, knowing that you have Ready for a Fight, to switch that scheme into a villain attack instead, and then on your next turn you can flip right back down, and if you have another one, play it again. The other really cool thing here is you get access to all of your toys in alter ego, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. It is a nice way to tech against like those advances or the dark designs that come in that standard pack that cause the villain to scheme. So a lot of the times when I'm doing my math, is it safe for me to flip down? I am safe typically if they scheme 1 time, but if we draw a dark designs, game's over, right? So if you're not doing this shenanigans where you're going to be recurring this multiple times and trying to use it as many times, if not every single turn, you're ending your turn in alter ego, it can be a card where you put onto the table and it's just a game saver for true solo, because if you flip down, you know you're safe from 1 scheme, but what if you draw that advance? Now on that second advance, trigger your Ready to a Fight, flip up, and take the attack. So you're not going to lose just because you drew the advance at the wrong time. And so I like it. I like this card because of how many ways we can abuse the card, but it's also just like something that I probably am going to throw in to pretty much every single one of my solo protection decks, if not for the option to flip down every single turn, the option to save myself from a surprise advance when I'm in alter ego. Cool. Okay, so let's talk about the 2 effective cost, because 1 cost plus the card itself, 2 effective cost. I think of that as kind of a 1 effective cost still, because you're kind of getting a rebate on that card because of that alter ego hand size. And heroes like Colossus, who have 6 hand size in alter ego and 4 hand size in hero form, if we're ending our turn in alter ego, we're effectively paying for itself, right? Because You get to draw 2 extra cards. That's how much it's going to cost. And the access to Alter Ego, you're going to get to trigger all your mutant supports, right? You're going to get to trigger Weapon X. So right there, you're going to take a damage, and then you're going to be able to draw into a new card, making it, if you're going to be able to trigger that every single round, it's going to pay for itself. And these sweet Alter Ego abilities are always online, because if we're able to recur this every time, and I'll tell you how we do that, we get to flip down and trigger our Scientist upgrade if we're playing Peter Parker. And then we can Ready for a Fight, flip up, still trigger Spider Sense, draw that card. Now Spider-Man's rolling into the villain phase with like 7 cards. That's a lot. And if that's every single time. Or like cybernetic upgrades, right? Nebula wants to be flipping down, getting a discount on those techniques that she plays, and then you can trigger that every single round. And this card would be good. But the fact that we got Practice Plan in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., 0 cost basic card, makes this card goated. I think that this is, and I'm gonna say it, I'm curious what y'all think. I think this is the best protection card for True Solo in the entire game. Curious what you think. But anyways, so Practice Plan is a 0 cost preparation card that says after you trigger the effects of a preparation card, you can discard Practice Plan to pull that card back to your hand from your discard pile. So you effectively get 2 uses out of your Ready for a Fight or any preparation card. It's also really fun to run with like Rapid Response and just recur that over and over. But if you recur Ready for a Fight, you can play it again, flip back down. And so now, if we're running 3 copies of this and 3 copies of Practice Plan, we can manage our hand and know where our Practice Plans and our Ready for a Fights are to basically get this 6 times throughout a deck pass. And that's, perfect case scenario. We're not actually going to get that every single time, but it does come out to where we can get it almost every single time or every single turn. And even if we don't, we can flip down and take that scheme. So it's really good. It's really, really good. So you can Practice Plan, pull it back to your hand, play it again, flip back down to Alter Ego after the villain has forced you into hero form. You can go through your entire hero phase, doing everything your hero would like to do, play Practice Plan, flip down, and rinse, wash, and repeat. Flip up, do it again. And sometimes you'll lose that Practice Plan, but if you're running 3 of them, if you're running 3 of the, you'll lose that Ready for a Fight if you're running 3 of those, if you're running 3 Practice Plans. More often than not, you're going to be able to trigger this almost every single turn, where you're ending your turn in Alter Ego, getting all the benefits of Alter Ego, but then not taking that scheme, being able to flip back up. Not that flip up does not use your once per round flip, so you can take the attack, trigger all your perfect defense if you're running that, and then flip right back down, pull it back, do it again. So it just gives a lot of access, and there's so many heroes that would like this. Honestly, it's probably easier to make note of the heroes that do not want this in their deck, right? So the couple that we brainstormed, Hawkeye does not really have a ton of things going for him in Alter Ego. So being able to flip down, he gets that 1 hand size, but he doesn't have like any like mechanics or anything that he wants to be an Alter Ego for. The other one was Groot, kind of, because when you flip down, you kind of want to trigger that Fertile Ground twice, and if you're flipping up and knocking off those growth counters, that's not what Groot really wants to do. But outside of that, pretty much every single hero is going to benefit from having a Ready for a Fight in their deck. But let's talk about a couple of like key ones, or things that just like pop in my head. Black Widow loves preparation cards. This is a preparation. Black Widow is silly with this because with Safe House 29 Alter Ego support, she can recur it. And so you have, I did talk about how we're going to cheat this in a little bit. If you have copies of like Quinn Carrier, X-Jet, Nebula Ship, any of those wild resource generators, you can use that to pay for this. And Widow does have access to like Quinn Carrier. And so flip up with Practice Plan as the villain's going to scheme, flip up, defend if she has her synth suit out. I'm pretty sure that's the name of the upgrade. Anyways, it'll be probably right here. If she has her synth suit out, that doesn't sound right. Anyways, she has 3 defense. She can exhaust. When she flips up, she's still within that response window for Widowmaker, so she can ping a damage somewhere. And then she flips right back down, uses Safe House 29 to recur the Ready for a Fight. Can use Quinn Carrier to play it because it is a wild resource. It fulfills that physical requirement and just does it over and over and over again. It's Black Widow got a lot of love this wave. Colossus loves it. I saw this deck running at the con, and I want to say it's a winning hand, a Boom Guy deck, but If it's not, I apologize. I did not look it up. I 100% should have done that beforehand. But Colossus really likes it because of what we were talking about earlier. He gets the +2 hand size when he's an alter ego, so he's effectively paying for it. He has a physical resource generator with the titanium muscles, so you're able to play it every single time, and every single time he flips up, he gets a tough status card. So even if he is taking an attack, you don't really have to worry about your health too much, because flip up, response to the flip up, you get a tough status card, villain attacks into the tough. Perfect. Colossus loves it. I've actually run a couple of decks with it on the last stream. I did a Hulk deck. Hulk loves it because he has all those physical resources. He doesn't have to discard his hand anymore, right? So Hulk on that hero side, he has to, at the end of his turn or at the end of the player phase, discard his entire hand. If you flip down to Alter Ego, you no longer have that forced response or forced interrupt, whichever one it is. You can keep your hand. You can hold on to cards, which is something that Hulk has not been able to do before. And so you can do that. I did a Magneto deck. Magneto just recurs like an infinite amount of cards, because whenever he flips down, you shuffle the top 3 cards back into your deck, which probably is practice plan. So if you're able, which is probably practice plan, or a ready for a fight if you did not have a practice plan to trigger off of it. Then he has Asteroid M, which recurs. And then I ran just a silly deck with like Mutant Education and X-Men Instruction. I was just recurring everything. But yeah, so many heroes love it. I am curious what decks you're building with this, so drop those down in the comments. Or I do have a channel on the Discord where we're going to be discussing this. I'm going to be out of pocket when this video comes out, and so talk there about it or drop it in the comments. But I am so excited to get back and read what y'all are building for it. But the deck that we're going to go through and the deck that we're going to talk about today is actually one that I ran on stream, and it's a War Machine deck. So let's hop down to the table and we're going to check it out. So War Machine loves ready for a fight. War Machine likes to go down to Alter Ego so that when he flips up, he can trigger his Locked and Loaded ability, which allows him to place 5 ammo counters onto his hero card. The ammo counters are going to be used for his upgrades as well as his events, and it's pretty much the only way you can get them is to go down, use either the munitions bunker, which we'll talk about, or to flip up and get those counters. So War Machine wants to be flipping, and so whenever you flip up, you get those counters, but there's a couple other tricks. So it is all built around Ready for a Fight. That's the whole idea of the video. So we're going to run 3 copies of Ready for a Fight, as well as 3 copies of Practice Plan. This is going to allow us to hit this fairly frequently. So Ready for a Fight, Practice Plan. That's what the deck is built around. I forgot to grab it. That's funny. So the other reason that he wants to flip up so frequently is his upgraded chassis card. So this card is it gives him the aerial trait, which is nice. Not really that important for this deck. No, it is. I lied to you. I'm sorry. He gets the aerial trait. And then, as a hero response, after you change to hero form, we can exhaust upgraded chassis to give War Machine a tough status card. So the sequencing looks like this. If you have Ready for a Fight onto the table with a practice plan built under it, and the upgraded chassis you've played so that you have this ready. Oh, I'm getting like massive glares. Sorry about that. So enemy is going to initiate a scheme. You're going to trigger Ready for a Fight. This is going to go to your discard pile. You will flip up to War Machine. At this point, you will trigger Practice Plan to pull Ready for a Fight back to our hand. Upgraded chassis, exhaust, and gives War Machine a tough status card. At this point, the villain continues the attack right into the tough. So effectively, we're canceling out the villain's activation every single round, and we have a Ready for a Fight back in our hand. So we can, if we have access to a physical resource, we have Quinn Carrier in here, play it again, and if we are lucky enough to have a Practice Plan in our hand, awesome. Some of the tricks that I was realizing as I was playing this is that if I do have another Ready for a Fight in my hand, so if this is the situation and I have a Ready for a Fight, I've drawn this card, if I trigger this to flip up to Alter Ego, I'm not going to trigger Practice Plan. I'm going to use the Ready for a Fight in my hand to keep this here. That just helps smooth the deck out a little bit. As I play more, I think I'm going to get a little bit better understanding of when and how to make sure that I always have this online. But that's kind of, I'm sharing what I know at this point. So yeah, so that's kind of the key. I'm going to leave the tough there because it's fun. That's kind of the idea. But a couple other things that War Machine's got going for him. We got another new card. We got Spider Bite. So Spider Bite is another new card that came in the Silk Pack. It's a 3-cost 2/1/2. The really nice thing here is the 2 thwart, right? So War Machine's biggest struggle is his thwarting. So having Spider Bite here with 2 thwart, perfect. I did say it was the nicest thing. The nicest thing, actually, is the fact that Spider Bite's ability is to reduce the cost to play her by 1 for each tech card you control. War Machine has a stupid amount of tech cards. In his kit, also in this deck build, we just have a lot of tech cards. And so Spider Bite, every single deck pass is probably going to just be free, if not just 1 cost. You're going to play Spider Bite. I typically am using Spider Bite twice, only that 2 health, for 2 activations of thwart, because we don't need those chump blocks as much as we normally do with the upgraded chassis flipping every single turn. We've got a Professor X. Now, Professor X confuses the villain. The way that the sequencing works out is you don't trigger ready for a fight if the villain is confused. So it's a little awkward here, but it does give you kind of another safe trip to Alter Ego where you're not triggering ready for a fight, and then next turn you could flip up and kind of do the entire thing and just delay that that sequencing like a turn. But Professor X also can thwart for 3. He can also chump block. So if you play Professor X, confuse the villain, then you can thwart for 3. You can flip down, or you can stay up, have Professor X chump, flip the next turn, they're confused, and just kind of like extend that out. I'd like to play Professor X when I have run through all of my ready for fights and practice plans through that deck pass. That's like the key kind of time I would do it. I would say that most of my solo decks up until now, I've been playing Professor X almost every single time I see him. This is not a deck where I'm necessarily doing that, but I don't think it's a bad thing to do. So Professor X is there. A little bit under the same vein, Nick Fury. So Nick Fury gets us to draw cards. Remove Threat is also a fairly viable option in this deck. I don't love it, but you can do it in a pinch, because when he comes into play, you can remove remove 2 threat, and thwart again for 2 to get a little bit more threat removal. So you can do that. Then we got Agent 13. So Agent 13 is here because of Munitions Bunker. So as an Alter Ego action, you can exhaust Munitions Bunker to place 2 ammo counters on it. This is another old hero new trick at some point. I think I did this like right as Agent 13 came out because I love this combo. So place 2 ammo counters on Munitions Bunker, or as a hero action, you can exhaust it to remove all of the ammo counters over to War Machine. So when he flips into hero form, he gets 5, and so after 2 activations, you could move 4 more over to make it 9. Agent 13, whenever she activates, you get to ready a shield support. So you can either just load this up really fast, where you load up, Agent 13 activates, ready, load up again, or on the same turn. So if you're an Alter Ego, load up, Agent 13 can ready this, and then you can flip to hero form, get your 5 counters, then exhaust and move everything over. So there's a couple of different ways, but really what I like to do is set ourselves up for a 1-turn kill with a shoulder cannon, because this says that you can you can deal the damage to an enemy, and then you can remove an ammo counter to ready shoulder cannon. It's a Gatling gun, right? And so if you have 20 ammo counters on War Machine, which is very possible to do with the Munitions Bunker if you get Agent 13 out early, shoulder cannon just goes forever, right? So that's 21 damage in total. That takes out most every single stage of any villain. So that is one of the fun combos, and since you're in Alter Ego every single turn, you get to load counters on here from pretty much every single turn once you get it out. So love that combo. The other thing that I kind of didn't even talk about is War Machine does have a really nice Alter Ego ability. Whenever you are as an action once per round, you can choose a War Machine card in your discard pile and shuffle it into your deck. So it's a little bit of recursion. And so a lot of the times, I'll just grab the card because it's fun. A lot of the times I'm grabbing Targeted Strike. Targeted Strike is our thwart card. So that's going to be remove a ammo counter to remove 3 threat from the scheme. The other thing that I will do with this is we are running Repurpose. So Repurpose is a discard a tech upgrade you control, ready your hero, choose thwart, attack, or defense. Till the end of the round, you get plus X, where X is the chosen cost to that chosen stat. So what's really cool here is you can choose any of the tech upgrades that he has in his kit. That could be Gauntlet Gun. That could be, he has 2 copies of that. He has his Missile launcher. He has his upgraded chassis. I highly recommend not doing this one. He has shoulder cannon. You can absolutely do that. But whichever one you repurpose, when you flip down, you can shuffle it back in and get it on that deck pass pretty immediately. The other thing is we have Leo Fitz, which I forgot to grab from my deck that I built. Cut of Leo Fitz, which he does have the shield trait in Alter Ego. We have Leo Fitz, so he only costs 1. You can exhaust this to search our deck for a tech card, put it into our hand. So you can repurpose, shuffle, recur. It's very efficient, very, very efficient. And then you can repurpose and do it again. We are also running a couple of energy barriers. So we got 2 energy barriers here. So there are some situations where you're going to be taking some damage. I was running against Dark Beast. Brutal combo. Horrible combo for this deck. It was not the one that I should have picked to showcase the deck, especially when he has, I think it was Blue Moon or whichever one pings the damage before he attacks, so it just knocks your tough, and it was like, okay, well, the deck doesn't work anymore. But against a normal villain, it should be fine. But Energy Barrier will help you with some of those minion activations, so if that tough is gone, Energy Barrier can prevent damage. It's also just the one that I like to use for the repurpose if I can, because I want to keep my War Machine cards out on the table if possible, so I can recur the targeted strikes over my tech upgrades. Yeah, so we got the energy barriers, the repurposes. I've played this deck 3 times, but like I have repurposed for Thwart. War Machine's biggest issue is going to be his Thwart, so if we've already passed our allies, thwarting is a very viable option. So repurpose the energy barrier, now he's thwarting for 3. And then we have Ever Vigilance to ready him. And since we are prioritizing this upgraded chassis, that gives him aerial. Ever Vigilance going to remove 2 threat, but also ready him. So if you thwart for 3, Ever Vigilant, remove 5, thwart for 3 again. And then you also have the repurpose, so you've probably activated it right before then. It can get you out of a bind. The idea of the deck is to kind of maintain, build up, 1-turn kill. And so that can be with your shoulder cannon as well as a couple of repurposed turns. So you can deplete the shoulder cannon, then repurpose the shoulder cannon, and then just kind of go through that shenanigans as well. There's a lot of damage potential with not a ton of setup actually, which is fun. There's a decent bit of setup. I'm not gonna say there's no setup, but like you can maintain really well, and repurpose is not necessarily a game-ending card in this deck, but it can be. Because of, we'll talk about this. We got Quinn Carrier. Quinn Carrier is just a really good card, so it's in here. And then we got Superpower Training, which I'm sorry about the glare. We got Superpower Training, which will grab the upgraded chassis, but it could grab anything else. And it's not just a dead card once you have built out, because if you have Superpower Training still in your deck and you're over thwarting for some reason, if you like repurpose the Gauntlet Gun, then you can Superpower Training and put it right back into play. So really it's in here to make sure that we get this upgraded chassis as soon as we possibly can. But if we do draw upgraded chassis in our opening hands, the Marvel Champions gods have smiled upon us, and we do get that. We can use Superpower Training for one of our other upgrades, or even later in the game after we've repurposed one of our upgrades. I'm typically more apt to repurpose like a Gauntlet Gun if I know I have a Superpower Training coming. Yeah, and then the last thing before the doubles is because of the awkwardness that happens with some of our blocks, like Professor X, the Nick Fury blocks, and maintaining the tough status card, we are running 2 copies of Taunt. Taunt, in this case, the villain attacks you and you get to draw 3 cards. No one can block for you, but if you have used Professor X to chump block and you still have a tough status card, if you've used Nick Fury, or heck, even Spider Bite, or you may have enough health and you just take the hit, Taunt is going to allow you to draw some more cards and maybe knock that tough so you can flip back down knowing that you're going to get another one when you come back up. So Taunt gets a lot of cards. Worst case scenario, it's a physical resource to help pay for Ready for a Fight. So if you don't have the Quinn Carrier on the table, if you bottom deck that and you really need a Ready for a Fight, you can go Taunt. Because most of the cards that we've added are actually not physical resources. So we are kind of reliant on getting that Quinn Carrier on the table to help pay for the Ready for a Fight or the Taunt. But that's the War Machine deck. I don't have a name for it. I 100% should have thought about that as well before I broke out into video. guess you can break out into video just like you break out into song. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. I'm excited to try it again against someone that is not Dark Beast, that just completely like techs against it. But that game will be posted probably tomorrow as of the publishing of this video. So if you want to check that out, I've also made a couple of modifications since that stream because I played it and I realized that there were a couple of cards that were not quite clicking and a couple of cards that we could have added. So hope you enjoy the deck. Let me know what you're building down in the comments. I'm excited because honestly, Ready for a Fight is a card that I am so pumped to have, and I'm so pumped to see what everyone is going to be building for it. So let me know how you're using Ready for a Fight or any of our new cards down in the video comments, and thank you for hanging out. We'll see you around. Peace.